Good, everybody. Welcome back to the Cloud Slayer channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is January 19th, 2024. I know, weird, right? If for some of you older folks, we thought the world was going to end in 2012, right? I remember I was working at the time. I was like, oh man, we're going to die here. I worked a graveyard shift at the deli, but but it never came, right? I know there was a lot of people that partied up. I remember after work, I ended up going partying. Got drunk, ended up in a ditch. Lucky I didn't get any DUIs or anything like that. And, I ended up calling somebody to come pick me up, and they, limped a vehicle home for me. Got lucky, Cops could have easily got there. I could have got a Dewey at a young age. Would have been, my fault because I'm a dipshit, and I did that, right? But, it is what it is, man. If you're going through some stuff and things like that happen, you got to count your blessings, especially when you get older, when you realize how easy something could have derailed your life, right? But when it does happen, if you get DUIs or anything like that, you got to learn how to accept your failures, man. Don't blame nobody else for it. Accept those failures. This is going to be for some of you younger folks that might just be going through it now, that might not have experienced stuff like that, but, don't know how to deal with it, man. It's going to be tough. It'll be tough at first, especially if you don't got a proper support system, right? And things like that. It's going to feel like the world's coming to an end, but it's not, okay? You gotta hold on no matter what. You got to do your best to get through those hard times and see those things that you did wrong and try to carry forward, It's not going to be easy. Nothing in life's ever going to be easy, especially if you're coming from something that you did wrong, But the first part of that is going to be seeing and accepting what you did wrong. One of the hardest things for anybody as human beings is accepting some of those, your own responsibility, right? You hold yourself accountable. Those are one of the hardest things to do, especially at a younger age when, especially if you're coming from like a mom and dad's home or something, or you might even be a teenager still and you live under your parents' roof, but you did something that, and you might be held accountable for it as an adult, right? I have friends where they got caught smoking cigarettes or weed in high school, and they, couldn't play sports or something. And, they blame somebody else for snitching on them. They blame somebody for, telling on them or something. And, it's like, well, if you didn't do it in the first place, it wouldn't have happened, right? You get a DUI. If you have a driver's license, or maybe you don't, you got a permit or something, and you get caught, and you blame the cop for it. You blame whoever, whoever gave you the booze or something, It's not their fault. It's your fault for drinking and driving, It's your fault for drinking, You didn't have any complaints when you were doing it, so you got to accept those things, and there's consequences that go with it. And then you gotta, it just because you're in trouble, and doesn't mean your life ends. Doesn't mean it ended. It just means you got to recognize those things that are wrong, right? And try to pick up from it and carry on past it, and try not to do it again. You got to learn from those things. Don't blame other people. That's going to be, the sooner the better that you realize that, obviously the better, sooner the better. And, hopefully you learn at a younger age that, don't do it again. And if you're doing it again, and you're still blaming other people, it's gonna be tough for you, especially if it keeps happening. Life tends to repeat itself if you continue to do the same things, So if you're gonna continue to have hardships, but you got to realize that it's brought upon yourself if you continue down the same road. And, you know, I hope one day you at least realize that, you know, you got nobody to blame but yourself, you know. I was once down that road, blaming other people, blaming everybody else for, you know, my lack of success, you know, because it's easier to point the finger. But like they say, you know, whenever you point a finger, you got three fingers pointing right back at you. And, you know, if you think somebody else is guilty for your actions, you're dead wrong. And you're going to continue to be dead wrong. And it's, you know, you got to look at those three fingers pointing back at you. You got to look in that mirror. And you got to accept those things. You got to move on from them, you know. So the only way through it is accepting the consequences of those actions and moving past it, you know. And not blame anybody else for those things. So, you know, the world, it isn't, because it feels like it's over, doesn't mean it's over. And as long as you're still alive, as long as you're still breathing, you're going to be able to overturn that. You're going to be able to walk past that someday. As long as it ain't like murder and you got like, you know, a life sentence or something, then obviously, yeah, you're going to be in prison for most likely the rest of your life, you know. You know, because that does happen. Somebody accidentally kills somebody, and then all of a sudden they're sitting in a cell for the rest of their life, you know, over what, you know. So you'll have a lot of time to reflect then. It's not funny because it does happen. And, you know, some people's lives are ruined because of some mistake that they made the first time, you know. So if you make those mistakes and you're still alive and, you know, you go to jail a couple days, or, you know, you lose your license for a year or whatever that punishment is, you know, count your blessings, you know, and accept yourself for who you are. But if you don't want to continue down that road and you don't want to feel like, you know, that kind of loathe towards yourself, towards life and stuff like that, that's when you got to turn it around, you know. I have a really good buddy. He talks about the time where, you know, he was facing prison time. And, you know, that's when he ended up turning it around. That's when he stopped roaming the streets, drinking, you know, like that. He still, you know, has a drink here or there, but he ain't getting all poop-faced and trying to, you know, do like gangbanger stuff, you know. He's not out there on the streets fighting people. He ain't in the bars fighting people. He ain't in there, you know, doing that lifestyle that leads to prison, that leads to jail time, that, you know, that turmoil. That he chose to walk away. He chose to be more involved with his children's life. He chose to no longer do that kind of stuff, right? And it's not going to be easy. It's not easy for him. He's still having hard times from those decisions that he makes, right? But he's still choosing to live. He's still choosing to move forward and carry on from that. And, you know, that's the beautiful thing of life. As long as you're breathing, as long as you have life, you're able to try to correct that. You're able to try to work towards a better goal than, you know, than feeling bad for yourself and stuff like that. So, you know, that's, if you're feeling depressed, you just gotta, and you're alive, you just gotta realize that you're alive, you know, and whatever's holding you down, you're able to counteract that. But it's gonna take some hard work to do it. It's gonna take some little bit of determination. But the one thing for sure is you're gonna have to work for it. You're gonna have to do something about it, you know? You're gonna have to do something about it. Nobody else can do it for you. They can make you realize it. They can tell you whatever, but at the end of the day, you still got to be the one that does something about it. You still got to realize that it's something that it's something that's within your control, and it's something that, as long as you're willing to work, that you can change it. You can change it or make it different, you know? So, you know, life's hard for everybody, man, and girls. So, but if anything, if you take anything from any of these rambles, it's that as long as you're alive, as long as you're breathing, and that you're able to reflect, then you're able to do something about it. You're able to change it and things like that, And stop. You can't blame other people for your mistakes. You gotta accept those. Take them head on, and that's the only way you're gonna move forward in your life. So, anyways, I hope you guys have a great one. This is a short ramble, but as always, glad to see you guys again. And if you're going through a hard time, I feel for you. But at the end of the day, you got to do something. All right. Take up sports. Go to the gym or something. Work on your house or something. Create a project for yourself or play some video games. Keep your mind off that crap. But only you can change it. So I hope to see you guys again. If you guys like this content, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. I do have some other content that I do on Spotify. So look up the Cloud Slayer podcast on Spotify as well if you want to hear any of that. That content, the more recent stuff, is going to be totally separate from these. And there's going to be no picture, of course. But I'm going to be rambling about other stuff and stuff like that. So anyways, peace out, guys.